All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Pokemon. I want to talk a little bit more about this Halloween MetaZoo set, the MetaZoo Hello Kitty set, the Karami's Cryptid Carnival. So there's been some new revelations. I want to thank Argos because I saw this on his page first. I wanted to give him a shout out. So the release date for this set is going to be November 15th. So it will, in fact, not be here in time for Halloween, which I think is what most of us were expecting, even though, again, it's a Halloween set. There's Halloween-themed cards and Halloween-themed box art for this set. It won't be here in time for Halloween, so at least we don't have to wonder anymore about when it's going to come out. The release date, according to this anime website, is November 15th, and it's going to be late. According to at least this press release from Anime Corner. So also in this press release, so we're going to start with the good stuff. It said that it's going to be available not only online, but in big box retailers, including Hot Topic and Claire's, as well as Walmart. And we've already seen MetaZoo in Walmart, but the Hot Topic and Claire's announcement is new, and I think that's an exciting announcement. And I've got to be honest, I think this set has really grown on me in the sense that, like I said, I've seen a lot of people make negative videos about the MetaZoo Hello Kitty thing. And I know a lot of the people that currently collect MetaZoo, because it's a heavily male collector and player base, we're probably not too excited about the Hello Kitty set because none of us really ever were into Hello Kitty, or none of us really cared about Hello Kitty, and so therefore we don't really care about this collaboration as much, except for thinking about the potential implications of this set beyond the people that already collect it, which I think this big box announcement is indicative of. Hot Topic and Claire's. Claire's specifically, I think, is an interesting move because I've got a little sister, and when we were young, Claire's was like her favorite store. So I think the fact that it's going to be in Claire's is kind of cool because of the fact that it's clearly aimed to appeal to a different audience than is already into MetaZoo, which I think is a step in the right direction for what MetaZoo needs. I think a lot of people have been saying MetaZoo hasn't really done a great job of expanding its audience beyond what they've already got. So I think this is going to be something that appeals to the younger crowd, but also the female crowd, which I think is something that MetaZoo is currently lacking. And I think the fact that it's going to be in new stores like Hot Topic and Claire's is interesting and might add some more appeal, some more widespread mainstream appeal to MetaZoo, which I think it needs. And I think, even when it got into Walmart and Target, I think it's interesting that MetaZoo's social media presence really hasn't grown much since then. You've seen all the core sets, I think, since Wilderness, right? Just Wilderness, and then you had the mystery boxes before that had some second edition. I think there were some Nightfall mystery boxes as well that you could get at Target or Walmart. But the blister packs for Wilderness, for Seance, and now for Native, you can get those at Target. I don't know if Walmart currently has any product, but you got the Topps Chrome as well in Target. So that was a big step, having MetaZoo in big box stores, but it didn't really do much, or at least nothing tangible for the growth of the brand. But the fact that this product is so different, and it features this really big IP of Hello Kitty, this really big brand, Sanrio, and it appeals to a different base, and it's going to be in stores that are really specifically to that other base. Hot Topic and Claire's. Hot Topic a little bit less feminine than Claire's, but Claire's is really specifically a female store, so I think that's a pretty interesting move, and kind of exciting, honestly. I kind of like that move. So it's grown on me. I see the appeal. I think it's going to be good overall for MetaZoo. I probably still personally won't be very invested in the set as far as my enthusiasm about it or opening it, especially now, considering the fact that we know for sure we're not going to have it in time for Halloween. I think my peak excitement for this set, if I was going to be excited at all, would be if I could open it on Halloween and kind of have another MetaZoo Halloween celebration, which I enjoyed doing for Nightfall. But the fact that we never really get these sets in time for Halloween, and a lot of people last year got their Halloween stuff late, the Halloween-specific promo set, it's a little bit disappointing, but it's kind of par for the course for MetaZoo at this point. I wasn't really expecting to get it on time for Halloween because we're so used now to MetaZoo not giving us stuff on time. It's kind of just expected, which is kind of sad, and is probably a big reason why MetaZoo has struggled to grow in the last year and a half, 2 years. So that's kind of a transition into the negative part of this video, because I made a video maybe a week ago now saying the MetaZoo box, the collector box that MetaZoo did with TCG Player and eBay, they sold it on eBay Live. It's still up right now. They had 7,000 total available of the 2 booster box Karami's Cryptid Carnival collector set. And this one up about a week ago. Since then, And even when I made that video, it had only sold like 500, maybe a little bit under 500 units. Right now, it currently sits at 541 of the 7,000 that were available. So I still stand by what I said, where I think that this was kind of a flop, because I think the mentality was that Hello Kitty, Sanrio, it's such a big brand, such a big IP, that this would be a very hot product. It would sell out very fast. It would be another really big deal for MetaZoo. And I think the fact that they teamed up with TCG Player and eBay to do it, I think that's indicative of the fact that they thought this was going to be a really big thing, and we've got to do something special, kind of a special rollout for the collector version of this. And there's going to be a lot of people that want this because there's a lot of Hello Kitty fans. So 7,000 available still to this day after being released live. They only sold 541. And the reason why I think this is kind of the negative part of the video is I saw today that on the eBay Instagram page, they put out a post advertising that this was on sale. So typically we're used to, so there's a little bit of good and bad here, because typically, especially the first couple years of MetaZoo, we were used to these drops where, whether it was a lot of bots or just limited inventory, a lot of drops that we were interested in sold out very quickly. They weren't available for very long. A lot of people had trouble getting access to them. And it was just really hard to not miss out on a drop, because every drop was selling out so quickly. And now obviously the market has slowed down. It's a lot more bearish now. But this, with this big brand of Hello Kitty, the fact that this didn't sell out, I think in and of itself would be probably considered a failure by MetaZoo and probably by eBay and TCG Player. But not only did it not sell out, it didn't even sell 10% of the units that they had. It didn't even sell 1/10 of 7,000. I think the fact that it didn't sell out, like I said, just that alone, I think was probably considered a failure. But the fact that it was only 500, not even 700, and the fact that they're still a week later posting on eBay, on their Instagram page, trying to get more to sell, I think is indicative of the fact that this was, in fact, a flop. And then also, so I spoke about this a little bit in the last video. I got an offer from a distributor to be able to buy the Hello Kitty set specifically. That was what the email was targeting, for me to be able to buy the Hello Kitty set at wholesale prices, so much less than what the MSRP of $140 a box is. And at first I thought, that's really cool, and I hadn't really bought any. I pre-ordered one from Argos. Again, shout out to Argos. One box at $140 or whatever he had it at, because I wanted to get the Argos promo card that he was going to ship out to the Diamond Hands Patreon guys, but I wanted to just also buy something to support Argos to ship that card with. So I bought it from him, and that was the only box that I ordered. So then they offered me, this distributor offered me at wholesale prices some of the Hello Kitty boxes and a wholesale account to be able to buy more MetaZoo at wholesale prices. And at first I thought, oh, this is really cool. This will be good for my channel. I can do bigger openings because I can afford more product, more boxes. It's cheaper, and I can open more MetaZoo. So I thought it was cool at first, and I still think it's cool. I plan to continue to buy from this distributor and buy at wholesale prices. And I bought 12 of these Hello Kitty boxes, or pre-ordered them because they're not out yet. And I also bought more Legacy to stream on the channel. But anyway, so after I made last week's video, I got a lot of messages from whether they were MetaZoo partners or LGSs saying, hey, I'm glad you made that video because we're a partner in LGS. We feel like we can't publicly speak out, but we're really having trouble moving this Hello Kitty set. Nobody's buying it. We lowered the prices on pre-orders. Still nobody's buying it. It's just not moving with our pre-order sales. And when I started to get, and I'm talking maybe a dozen, so a significant amount, because my Pokemon stuff, my Pokemon channel is significantly smaller than all my other social media and all my other channels. And so a dozen people saying this, I thought was pretty significant. And then it kind of clicked. Maybe that's why the distributor was offering me a wholesale account, because obviously I'm not a partner. I'm not an LGS. I just have an eBay page and I just crack a lot of stuff on my channel. And then I thought maybe even the distributor is having trouble moving this product. And then I started to think, wow, maybe this Hello Kitty thing really is going to be a flop. So I wanted to start the video with the positive because I think it is very cool. I really do. I think it's going to be cool that it's going to be in Claire's and Hot Topic and Walmart. And maybe that will open a lot of people's eyes to MetaZoo and bring on some new people that previously were not interested, especially the female base, maybe the younger base. I don't really think that Hello Kitty is as much of an appeal to kids as it is to females, because of the fact that Hello Kitty it's an old IP. It's an old brand. It was around before we were kids. I'm 30, and it was around before me. So I think a lot of the audience for Hello Kitty are older people that kind of grew up with it or know it from the past, and not so much people that are young, like young kids newly getting interested in Hello Kitty. They might recognize it, but I feel like the main consumer base is probably people that grew up with it, maybe mostly female. But I do see the benefits of it. I think it's cool, but it certainly seems like, based on all this information and based on the fact that they're still trying to sell this collector set that didn't even sell 10%, even with all these positives, in theory, on paper, the brand is huge, the IP is huge, it appeals to a different demographic, we're getting it in these big stores, it's a major IP crossover. Despite how good it looks on paper, it seems like it's really not going that well. And granted, it might not have mattered what MetaZoo set released at this time. Maybe it's not just the fact that it's a Hello Kitty set. Maybe had they released War right now, maybe they would have the same issues. Maybe it's not about it being Hello Kitty, and maybe it's just the market. Maybe it's just MetaZoo. Maybe it is just in that place where they're having trouble selling it, even the distributors. And maybe had MetaZoo released anything on eBay Live that was a collector's box for $300, if it was a collector's box of War with like a sword or something that came with it, maybe that would have sold just as bad. And maybe it's not indicative of the Hello Kitty collab being a flop, but maybe it's just indicative of the direction that MetaZoo is going. But like I said, and I got to say this every video, I'm one of MetaZoo's biggest fans, biggest supporters. I probably buy more MetaZoo than most people watching this video. I don't want to see it fail. But again, it really feels like it's not going in a good direction. And, you know, maybe that's all TCGs right now. Everything's kind of trending down. But MetaZoo really, really does feel like it needs to do something major. It needs a big catalyst to turn this ship around. I know the online client and being able to play online is going to be a pretty big shift, so we'll see what that does. But I think it needs, whether it's a animated series, maybe when this book comes out, maybe when War comes out, it needs something that's going to appeal to a much broader audience, because clearly just the core sets and even a lot of these collabs, like the skateboards apparently didn't do that well because they're not doing skateboard collabs anymore. But it seems like the model that MetaZoo has been using is just not working. They're not growing. And I still think, from a critical perspective, I think a lot of it is because of these missed deadlines. A lot of it is because of the fact that when you order a product from MetaZoo, whether it's a collab or something else, you're not going to get it for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Some cases, you still haven't gotten something that you've ordered months ago. There's the streamer kits. I know a lot of people are still complaining about that, and rightfully so, by the way. And I think that's a big problem, because not only is MetaZoo not really doing anything as far as a major catalyst to grow, but the existing consumer base that they have is not happy. They're not doing anything to keep the people that are already here, let alone grow. And I think, you know, if myself, somebody that buys a lot of MetaZoo, I've got a channel where I talk a lot about MetaZoo, open a lot of MetaZoo, and I'm, like I said, one of MetaZoo's biggest fans. If I'm disappointed, then what is the average person that spends, you know, maybe it's not as easy for the average person to buy a couple booster boxes from MetaZoo. If you spend $500 on a MetaZoo set, that's a very significant portion, if not all of your expendable income for the month. You're probably really mad that you've got to wait months to get it, or that it's months late, or that the deadline isn't even announced yet. So I can understand the frustration of so many people, because I kind of do this just as a hobby. It's not really a very significant portion of my expendable income. I really just do it for fun. I do it because I enjoy it. I probably still spend more on Pokemon than I do on MetaZoo. And it's just, if even someone like me that's doing this very, very casually is upset about this stuff, I couldn't even imagine, you know, some of the people that are spending a significant portion of their expendable income, if not all of it, on MetaZoo, and they're just constantly treated like they don't matter. You'll get it when you get it. We'll ship it when we ship it. We're not going to give you any updates. We'll ban you from the Discord if you ask about the money that you spent on a product. And I think they really need to step it up. And honestly, even though I started this video in a positive way, I really think the fact that this isn't going to come out till November 15th, and the fact that it might not even come out at that day, that's just the date that we're getting on this. It might be even later than that. But the fact that the Halloween set is 2 weeks after Halloween, I think really is going to disappoint a lot of fans, and I think really it's really going to cut down the hype for this set. I think after Halloween, not very many people are going to be excited about this, especially not the current MetaZoo audience that's not already into Hello Kitty, that, like myself, probably are only buying it because they like to participate in the Halloween set. Once that kind of hype has worn off, and the people that already collect MetaZoo that aren't interested in Hello Kitty, they're not going to buy any more of this. They're going to have to MetaZoo's going to have to rely on a new fan base coming in and buying this for it to sell. And if it's already not selling at wholesale distributor prices, I think we're in for a rough ride. And I think they need to do something to turn it around, whether it's Topps, whether it's an animated series, whether it's the book. There needs to be a really big catalyst and a really big shift in MetaZoo. And I still think some acknowledgement on, we're sorry that everything is late. We're sorry for the way that we've been doing things. We're sorry we're banning so many people. We're sorry that you spent all this money on this product and you still haven't gotten it yet. We're sorry. We're doing better. We're addressing it. And MetaZoo has new management yet. They did a really big internal shift with Mike taking that step back, and it seems like nothing has changed. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about the Hello Kitty set, about all this stuff that I said in this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Nick Strength and Pokemon signing out.